This week on the Steam Machine podcast, man, I got nothing. I hate this game. Cue the music! I think it's super bad. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always with Destructo.
What up, everybody? It's Nate.
Hey, it's Willie. It's Willie.
And we are joined, gentlemen, by the son of a bitch who is the reason for me to play this game.
He's half of the reason. The other half is the other half of the Destructo Bros, who suggested this game in the retro game poll.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I have no recollection.
So the two guys in red shirts that are above me right now. You bastard.
Yeah, the black shirts are the good guys. The red shirts are the bad guys.
See, what happened was, I don't know, some of us like playing bad first-person shooters, apparently.
Dane has a track record of that.
With a nougaty bastard scent.
Yeah, our guest is Dane, by the way, in case you hadn't figured it out by now.
Yes, it's Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself. Dane, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm sorry. I was not sorry for Duke. I'm sorry for this one. My bad.
I can't wait to find out how much you actually played it.
Oh.
More than I...
But so you turned it on. Got it.
Yeah, more than once, too. So.
Now that I give you more power for. We'll touch on that in a little bit, though. You been up to anything interesting recently, my good sir? Play anything good?
Yeah, that was half the problem. So, while I was trying to wade my way through fucking Noah's Ark, I was also swapping back and forth between that and Ion Fury, which, for any of you who haven't heard of it, is the newest build engine game. I love it. It's amazing, and it made me realize how terrible Noah's Ark really is. And, yeah, the whole time we were messing with it, that's on my...
Even the build engine versus the Wolfenstein 3D engine is a massive difference in technological playability.
No joke. And, I don't know how y'all played Noah's Ark. I was playing it on my little retro handheld, so D-pad and shoulder buttons.
Yep. I might have played it more if I had it on a handheld.
Yeah, sitting at, like, doctor's appointments and shit.
I played it on Steam.
I mean, you know, it's better than staring at a wall, I guess. Marginally.
A little bit, yeah.
Unless you're looking for secrets, then you're just digitally staring at a wall. But, you know, I'm getting ahead of the game talk.
The Wolfenstein engine experience.
But, yeah, just rather have been on, chainsawed my hand the other.
Okay.
Ow.
Yeah, just two big old holes out of the ring finger and the middle finger on my left hand. Oh, sorry. Should be more specific. Out of the glove on that hand, I only got a scratch. But
oh, wow.
Say what
Kids,
you will.
This is why you wear
protective. Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing.
Say what you will about Cosby. He did have one thing right. First you say it, then you do it. It was definitely an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot that joke. I was like, what's he talking about?
I was lumberjacking in clean underwear up to a point. But, but the hand's still intact, my ring finger. My wedding band doesn't fall off, so that was a good motion. But that was the one that I actually scratched. And
wow, man.
The only real injury I got was got popped in the face with wood. Unfortunate phrasing. I got popped in I took a big piece of wood to the... No, you know what? I'm just going to stop.
So what he's trying to tell you is a bunch of wood sprung up, got him right between the eyes, and he messed his pants immediately.
Bro, I wasn't chainsawing, but I remember when I was working with Wes, I was having to weed eat this really thick area and get it cut down because it was in a spot we couldn't get the lawnmower in. Well, our weed eater was old and didn't have a guard on it. So I'm just going, and all of a sudden, dude, wham, I get hit right under my eye, right here on my cheek. And it felt like I got shot in the face. Or what I imagined getting shot in the face would feel like, just this insane pain. And I was like, what the fuck? And he was talking to the lady whose house it was outside. So I was like, immediately I felt bad for yelling the F word. But I turned around to look at them, and Wes goes, oh man, damn, that looks like that hurts. You should probably go clean that up. And I just did like this, and it looked like I was crying blood. Dude, this thing was just bleeding on my face. I was just like, ow, dude.
Crying blood from a lacerated eye.
I was like, for one, I was glad it didn't go any higher because it would have hit me in the glasses and shattered my glass into my eye. But it was a rock that just caught right and got sent straight into my face.
Jeez, man.
Fucking puppy underneath me is trying to gag. Sorry, I'm trying to get it out.
Dalton's new life as a new puppy dad, struggling with it, trying to put everything in its mouth.
Dude, she's... What? Ow!
Yep, there it is.
Man, she's got some sharp-ass little teeth.
Puppy teeth, man, they're the freaking worst. I've been
God
there.
almighty. Anyways, I'm glad your hand's okay. Like, that could have went much, much worse.
Yeah. I think we've all had our power tool scares in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Everyone F's up once. It was not quite as scary as the day I almost shot myself in the foot, but you get one fuck up and you hopefully learn from it and walk away from it.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone I know has like at least one story where it's like, and that was the time I was so glad I was wearing my steel toes or something like that, you know?
I actually worked in steel for 4 years and never bought a pair of steel toes. I was flirting with danger.
I was seriously in a janitorial position on the floor of one place and they made me wear steel toes.
Dude, I wore my wrong shoes to work the other day. And one of my supervisors came in. We were in a fucking Dollar General of all places. And he looks at my feet and he goes, "Are those steel toe?" I said, "No, sir. I walked out of my house today on accident after I had taken my puppy out with my, my normal just slip-on shoes on." He goes, "You can't work. They're not steel toes. That's a liability. You can't work." So I had to just be Tony's, quote, helper the rest of the day and not lift anything.
Oh, I bet Tony loved that.
Yeah, he was like, he goes, "You can move monsters and stuff." So he made me feel like coolers and like cross-filling shelves and things like that. So like I just couldn't work the pallets.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was the last pallet we had to work was at this Dollar General. But still, it was like, Steve, are you serious, man? Come on.
Classic
Steve. But anyways, well, I guess let me eeny, meeny, miny, Willie. What you been up to, bud?
Let's.
Oh, I know there's one video game you want to talk about.
I figure we can just get around to that when you go up.
Okay.
I kind of want you to take the lead on most of these this time. Let me see if I got anything I wanted to bring up for myself in particular. Damn, I know there were a couple things I finished in the last little while, but I can't remember what they are. Let me check my... Where's the Steam thing that tells you what you've been doing over the last 2 weeks?
The very top on mine, at least.
In what screen? Library?
Library,
Activity?
yeah.
How do you sort it by last 2 weeks or whatever?
I've recently played compelling podcasting.
Nate, what have you been up to while Willie's looking for that?
Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to let frickin' what's it called? Delete truncate silence handle it, but okay. I started replaying Doom 2016. Finally back up to hell on Ultraviolence, so that was fun.
Nice.
That's a fun
I
one.
was playing that a lot, and again, like Noah's Ark 3D also definitely has me wanting to play that instead, but man, it's a good game, but I kept noticing this time, like, moments in the plot that really I'm like, I really wish that I could at least just skip this or something. Because, like, you remember how in the beginning of the game, your dude's just, like, ripping up monitors and stuff so he doesn't have to hear Samuel Hayden yammering at him? And then you get to the one scene where Olivia Pierce, who you're sent there to destroy, is right behind a glass window with a single door between you and her, and literally just monologuing and messing with equipment the whole time while she's en route to opening a portal to hell, and Doom just stands there and listens to her. It's maddening. I don't get that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing that and being like, dude, blast her.
Yeah.
Shoot her in the head right now. Problem solved.
Shoot her!
Shoot her!
And then there was one other thing. Oh yeah, I just really have noticed that the auto map in that game really does not help in the UAC areas if you get lost, because the catwalks all overlap a lot, and like you can't tell if something on the map is something you have to jump or if it's a wall, basically. So, like, without having a lot of experience in those levels, I get lost a lot because I'm pretty bad at navigating real. These are my only complaints, though, because I'm finding the combat more fun than ever. So, at least there's that.
I'm interested.
Yeah, the only time I ever really messed with the map was Secret Hunt.
It was really on the level of the Foundry that I thought that the map did the worst job.
I don't know. I'm interested to play Eternal eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do hope we get around
the,
to that this year. It's been one that I keep thinking of just starting to play by myself and like, no, we're going to do it for the show. We're going to do it for the show.
That is the hell that
haven't
is my
beat it yet,
life.
but for what I've played,
I've heard they added a bunch of platforming stuff. I'm interested to see how they managed to throw that in.
Yeah, there's a grappling hook now.
Yeah, they went the Persona 5 Royal route where they're like, hey, now you have a grappling hook.
I like grappling hooks in games, man.
Yeah, like the hook shot from Ocarina of Time.
Batman,
Yeah.
Bat a hook, whatever it was.
Yeah. Bat a hook.
Yeah. All the swinging in Spider-Man also was very grappling hook.
Oh,
esque.
yeah, the ultimate grappling hook.
There's a good grappling hook too in the game Nathan's going to talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
There is no grappling hook in Red Dead. There's a lasso. There's no grappling hook.
There is a lasso.
Yeah, that's a dude grappling hook.
I'll wrap you up with the lasso, then I'll make you kiss my asshole.
Well, alrighty then.
So,
I ain't King Shaman.
Doom, like, oh, damn it, I had a question about, nope, gone. Doesn't matter. Oh, wait, no. Did what's his face, Romero, did he have anything to do with 2016? Or is that a whole different team now?
Nah. It's a whole different team.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like Hugo Martin.
Yeah, Hugo Martin was the correct director. That's what got me back playing it, actually. Is it Awesome Games Done Quick 2024. They did a 100% speed run of that with Hugo Martin on a call giving commentary on the stuff
Is he the
he's
ball?
doing.
Oh,
And-
sorry.
Yeah, he was the creative director on that game and the
So
director
you could
of
say
the
he's
Journal.
the Hugo boss. Thank you, Nate.
Oh,
Thank you,
don't.
Nate.
I only regret that Truncate's silence ruined the comic timing on that one. Because we just looked at him.
Yeah. Oh, man. I only know what Hugo Boss even is because of an old Flash game on Newgrounds, I think it was. One of the expensive items you could buy was a Hugo Boss suit to make the girls like.
Was it one of those dating sim
Yes, it
RPG things? Yeah, there were a lot of those back in the day.
Yeah, I think it was Sim Girl, maybe? I think it was like the
One of the big
OG.
I think I remember that one.
OG. I wonder if I'd be any good at those anymore because I was terrible at them as a kid. Just like, I just want to see some titties.
I mean, the way I figured, if you were patient enough to get through the, relationship management, Persona and Fire Emblem games, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to do it in a game that's much
I
stripped
wonder
down.
if I like those mechanics so much because I played shit like Sim Girl and stuff growing up on Newgrounds. Like, I like these mechanics. I like making it feel like girls love me.
Hey, it's that with a game raptor.
Yeah, we put it in a video game this time.
We heard you like your anime girls, so we took your anime girls and we put it in a game about anime girls.
Yo, dog.
Yo, dog. All right, so I guess I'll say, Nate, what have you been up to? And then y'all can talk about the game that you want to talk about together.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to leave that to Willie because I have a lot that went on this last couple weeks, but...
Well, in that case, you can do yours and I'll come back after Dalton.
Okay, fine by me. So, I've been doing way too much traveling over the last couple weeks. I'm freaking exhausted, to be perfectly honest. First, we went to... Not last weekend, but the weekend before that, I think. Yeah, we went to Cincinnati to go watch the Broadway version of Beetlejuice. So that was a pretty cool play. It was a pretty cool play. Like, the thing about it is, I enjoyed it. I felt like it tried too hard to be hip and with it and cool in a lot of regards, and I can't remember a single song from the musical. So, but... Aesthetically, it was done amazingly. Everything looked fantastic. They even had, one of the sandworms in it. And the sandworm scene was, really freaking cool. The thing I remember about this play, 'cause a lot of them I remember the music and things like that. This one, I just remember all the visuals. So, visually, it was really, really well done.
Surely they ended with shake, shake, shakes in order, shake it all the time.
Yeah, they definitely used that in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it without that.
No, you definitely couldn't. So, it was a good time. We had a great time in Cincinnati. I bought a new iPhone while I was there because there was an Apple store in the mall we went to. So I was like, sure, I'm just going to get my phone upgraded now. So instead of having a 12 mini, I have the new 15 whatever. I like
15
it.
large.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's not small anymore.
15 Magnum.
I would have went with Max.
There you go. And then
The only
I'll peek the mic with that laugh.
This recording is a little bit late because I've been on another trip for work, which I left on Monday to go to a work conference at Disney World. It was really cool getting to meet all my coworkers and stuff, and we got to spend one night out at Epcot, and we had a good time there. But I was like, man, I am so tired of traveling. I want to be home for a month straight. And I don't think I have anywhere to go for a while, so I think I can make that dream a reality. So,
yeah, going from New York to Cincinnati to Orlando, it's like, oh, let's just go to three massive busy cities.
Like, I've done the East Coast completely now.
Right?
The East Coast is checked off at this point.
Seriously.
Next business trip is in Morocco.
And I've alluded to it a little bit. I'm still working on getting all the pieces together for my new pet. If you look behind me, you guys get a sneak peek of what I have so far. Still not telling the group what it is. Willie knows, but he's the only one. So I am getting the pieces. Hopefully, maybe by the next time I record, I'll actually have the animal. We'll see about then.
Judging by that box of condoms sitting on it, I'm assuming it's whatever it is, got a big dick.
I mean, you never know, baby. Yeah, so I'm just kind of tired. I did play a little bit of this game. Spent more time playing the game for next episode than I did playing this game.
Which I think was the original plan. I'm just a jackass and played this game more.
I just have a brain that kind of works sometimes.
Be nice, wouldn't it? I wish.
And then the other thing, I'll go ahead and we can roll into this. Maybe Willie can talk about it a little bit. Willie got me into this new game. I'd say it's not a new game, but it's new to me, called Deep Rock Galactic. And we spent way too much time playing this with our friend Blitz, and like, it's this really cool like multiplayer co-op game. Like, so it's just you and your friends playing as dwarves, going into the mines and drilling shit up, killing giant spiders and shit that are attacking you. And it's really well designed and really deep because there's like 4 character classes and they all have different strengths. Like, my favorite so far is called the Driller class, and he just like has the ability to dig through walls like super fast and be able to be the kind of guy that can open up paths for the group and things like that. It's just really fun. I've been enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, so the setting is kind of like it's kind of like a sort of cyberpunk dwarf setting, to an extent. Like, you're dwarf miners on an alien planet. You have first-person shooter type weaponry. You have like, you know, glowtorch flares you can throw and grenades and things like that, guns, and then a regular old pickaxe. And there's just a bunch of different types of missions where it's like, there's basic ones like go to the surface and get 100 of this type of, but then there's other ones where it's like, you know, escort this drill dozer that's going to try to drill down into the, you know, this special stone down there. You have to protect it from the monsters, refuel it by picking up stuff in the area. At the end, you know, protect the drill dozer while it drills into the heart of the big stone you're trying to get to, and all these shenanigans happen. They're like boss monsters, and the whole time you're, you know, roaming around, you're also digging up special stuff. And I don't know, there's something really just addictive about, like, you're just like, oh, I found a little gold ore, and it, you know, gives you money to buy cosmetics. And like, there's a lot of customizing of your characters. There's just the 4 classes, but each of them have 3 different primary weapons, 3 different secondary weapons, 4 different grenades, and you can pick different perk layouts for all of those, except the grenades. Each character has a special movement technique, so the scout has basically a grappling gun you can shoot and then immediately zip to that location. The gunner can set up a zip line that everyone in the party can. The driller can drill holes through any of the terrain. All the terrain in the game is destructible. And then the engineer can drop platform cliff faces or to break your fall if you fall off.
Yeah, and the thing I really like about it personally is it's multiplayer cooperative. So it's not like you're going into a room and talking to jackasses and having to fight people, like, you know, more like a Phasmophobia type experience where you're all just working for a common goal and trying not to die, rather than playing against assholes on the internet, which is a nice change of pace. I don't know. There's something just about co-op that hits me better than competitive.
Yeah, I feel like you end up getting your squad together and kind of learning. But the one thing I thought was really cool is, like, I felt like the very first time I played, like, I was immediately contributing to the team. I did, like, the first time I tried to play Phasmophobia, I basically felt like I was holding the flashlight and watching people. Whereas I feel like the first time I played this, I felt like I was walked through it. I was like, oh, hey, I'm mining out gold. Is that good? Yeah, that'll get us credits. That's awesome. I found some nitro. What does that do? Oh, we can use that to call in a reload if we run out of ammo. So definitely keep looking for that. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm actually helping.
Yeah, I remember.
You need a zip line to get up there? Yeah,
let's do
it.
Was given away for free on PlayStation Plus. I remember my dad loaded up been playing it for a bit and saying that he really enjoyed it. But I think he just played with some randos.
Yeah, you can play with randos. We have a group of 3 we've been playing with. The game supports up to 4 players. And you don't even have to, like, everyone be a different class if you don't want to. Like, we've gone into boss fights where we had, like, a driller and 2 gunners just to make sure we had the firepower. So it's pretty cool. You go down there, you do the mission. It calls a drop pod. You have, like, 5 minutes to escape. And that's when the driller really shines, too, because if the drop pod ends up placed somewhere really weird, the driller could just, like, buzz a hole through the wall and try to get you back there directly.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's really fun. Like I said, the co-op aspect of it's really fun. So just get on your voice chat with your friends on Discord and just go to town and have a great time. Like, I think it'd be fun for us to do at some point and have a guest do it with us. Like, I think it'd be a really good show game even.
Yeah, I was considering that as well. Like, very strongly considering it as a show game if we don't burn ourselves out on it.
Yeah.
Because I started playing the game on January 11th, which is almost exactly 4 weeks ago. I have 56 hours in it already. So that's about the rate I was playing Yakuza 0 at.
Yeah, ton of fun.
And because the mission length tends to be around 20 to 30 minutes and has a very big, like, one more round, then we can go to bed type thing. It's, like, very easy to break into chunks and do just one mission or play for a few hours.
And all the characters are dwarves, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And the thing I don't think we really kind of talk about, the game has a shit ton of personality. Like, there's just, like, voice lines that are hilarious in it. And, like, before every round, you go to the bar and get a round of brews for the boys. It's really cool and funny.
That's what I remember my dad telling me was the drinking aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, each of the beers has a different effect. Like, there's one called the Wormhole Stout that'll teleport you somewhere random on the space rig, including sometimes out into space, but you pop back in after a moment. Or, a lot of them have just, like, funny descriptions. The characters all have great voice lines. Like, there's a ton of just, like, silly personality aspect to it. Like, you describe the game to someone, it sounds, like, dire and serious, like, but it's very much celebrating, like, the joyful, drinky camaraderie of dwarves,
Yeah.
They're on the mission and they're having a great time.
Yeah. If I ever see it on sale or if it's, like, free somewhere, I'll check it out.
Hell yeah, man.
It's definitely one that picking up on sale, like, there's practically no risk, and we'd be happy to jump you in, go back and help you work through the starter. Because even the very start, it gives you, like, basically a 10 mission, what's called an assignment, which is like a track of missions you can do to get a reward at the end. And the very first one it assigns you is basically, here are the 10 main types of missions in the game one by one. And so that can just, like, lead you through each of those, so you can find out the difference between, the one where you build the pipelines versus the one search for alien eggs in the walls, things like that.
I'm down.
It's a dope ass game. Very fun, very funny. Never really had a bad experience, even the time we lost 4 games in a row.
Oh, so you can lose?
Oh, that says.
Yeah, it's the kind of game where as long as one player is still alive, they can res everyone back up to half health. But if you can get party wiped, especially because there are certain enemies that explode or that kind of summon more things in. So it's possible to get kind of overwhelmed. Or to just kind of screw up your own judgment. Or to fall to your death. Especially the scout who has the grappling hook falls to his death quite a lot.
Yeah, there is fall damage. You got to watch out for that. But fun shit. But yeah, what have you been up to, Dalton?
So I got all the achievements for Pal World.
Oh, damn, already, huh?
There weren't that many. I got them all.
Had you even started on Pal World at the time of the last recording?
No.
So I guess if the audience isn't aware of Pal World, despite the fact that it seems to be one of the most talked about games out there right now, you want to give them a quick summary?
Yeah, it's Ark with quote-unquote not Pokemon in it.
Yeah, in a dystopian Pokemon-inspired.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I've pretty much seen what it has to offer. Now, like, my remaining thing is to catch them all, basically. I have my 3 bases built. My base is upgraded to the max that it can be. I beat all 4 of the big bosses in the towers, which some of them were easier than I thought they would be, but I also think I was way higher level than by the time I decided to go do that. I was just way higher level than I needed to be.
So I know the game is in dev. Does it have, like, an ending right now, or are you waiting for, like, a content drop to really feel like...
Yeah, I'm just going to wait and see what keeps coming. Like, as of right now, I'll probably pop in and play it whenever, like, Mikhailov wants to do some co-op or something. But other than that, I'm going to wait for more updates, because as of this moment, there's not a ton left for me to do.
Did it have, like, a story ending or anything like that, or was it all just kind of open?
There might be a story to that game. I know you can like find some diary entries from like other people, but that I don't know.
So it's no Nexamon.
No. It is way more a survival crafting game than it is a mon catching game. Mon catching is like the gimmick of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I get you.
Not to say that wasn't fun though.
So like they've tried to sell it as Pokemon with guns, but you feel like it's more along the lines of survival game with mons.
Yeah, I gained the ability to make guns for all of the different mons who could carry them, and I never once gave any of the mons guns. I just let them use their normal moves.
However, sometimes you would pick up a dude and use him as a flamethrower, I'm sure.
No, I never did that either. I just let them do their own thing, and I used guns. So I had an assault rifle, and then I would go in there with a big dragon mon, and I'm just raining bullets while this thing is blasting fire at them, and it was a good time.
Nice.
Big dragon mon is my favorite Digimon, dude.
That's like half the Digimon.
Ultra Mega Radmon comes out doing kickflips.
Evolves into a sexy person with no eyes mon.
Yeah. I'll be really interested to see, in a couple months how people feel about it. Like, it didn't grab me enough to want to play it right away. I'm really curious to see how it fares a couple months after release. People are still talking about it and think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the state of it is when early access is over.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing about it for me is I've watched a couple streams of people playing it, and every time I watch someone play it, I'm like, I kind of think this whole catching and, training and stuff thing seems interesting. I want to learn to play Slime Rancher, which I don't have instead. Like, I'm not sure why it made me want to play Slime Rancher, but it really does.
Megan really likes Slime Rancher. Like, I watched her play that game.
It seems so cute and relaxing and fun.
It is, but there's also something about that game that just is dystopian and weird to me. You have to play it to get the vibe that I'm talking about. But
okay.
You feel like you're juicing those cute little critters and the game doesn't really yell at you for it, basically?
It's like, you're taking these things that are just living in their habitats and you're shoving them into these little boxes, and there's a bunch of them in there, and it's just not... You just got to play it.
You get kind of weird factory farming vibes out of it.
And, they're just slimes, but at the same time, it's like, what's this game really trying to tell me? You know what I'm saying? Who's the real hero? But yeah, I played the shit out of that. I've been playing the shit out of Red Dead 2. The story mode and online. I still really want to play some online with you guys eventually.
Yes, absolutely.
So we haven't even touched the online yet. In fact, I think me and Nathan are both early in the second chapter of the story, if that gives you any idea. Like, if we had to do first impressions, we could for the podcast, but we have a lot more exploring to do.
I can already go ahead and tell you, I do not think this is a game that I'm going to be able to beat, because every 5 seconds I'm getting distracted by something else. Like, I was mentioning this is a spoiler for the episode, but I mentioned this to Dalton in our little host chat earlier. Like, I think this might be my Skyrim.
I'm telling you, dude, the amount of like you're riding along and all of a sudden just a little gray dot appears and it's just like a little stranger with a little side thing for you to do.
Yeah.
All the time. And it's like, man, they are so good at making their worlds immersive like that. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the same way.
Just even like tonight I was playing it some, and like I was going to do this mission, all of a sudden I heard this lady screaming from behind this house or something, and I'm like, what is going on back there? And I go back there and this dude just keeps dunking her head in like the water trough, and I'm like, nope, this isn't happening. Arthur Morgan gonna punch this dude in the face a bunch.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, I hate myself because this is how I do things. Like, there's like, you act good, you get like positive karma. I don't know what it's called in the game or whatever. I can't help but be a good guy in video games. Like, I can't give myself to like I chase this guy off to this ledge and he's hanging there, right? And it's like, help him up or kill him. I'm like, he recognizes me, but I don't want to kill a dude for no reason, so I help him. I'm like, I hate myself.
You just wait.
I am such a fucking sucker that until I looked at an FAQ after the mission was over, I didn't realize I had the option to kill the guys that we took off the train and told to scram.
Yeah, I didn't kill them either.
I didn't think, oh yeah, I could have just shot them, because I didn't see a dialogue thing for them, so I'm like, whatever. I guess I'll send them back on the train.
You guys just wait. You wait till you come across an NPC that just talks shit to you for no reason, and you just happen to be in a mood.
Dude, we struggled with this in Fallout. I think Nathan managed to be nastier than he's ever been in any game in Fallout, and he was still a cowboy.
Dude, lasso him, throw him on the back of your horse, find the nearest train track, toss them on the train track, and wait. If they get up from the lasso, tie them up again. Throw them back down.
The old Snidely Whiplash.
And just wait. And watch them get obliterated by a train. And then you're just like, you know what? That negative karma hit felt good.
Sorry, I did not mean to derail into Red Dead talk, but it's so much more fun than Super Noah's Ark.
No.
Well, you derailed so hard that he put someone on a rail for you. So,
but as far as online, one of the main things I'm looking forward to with you guys is fishing.
Oh, buddy fishing. Yeah, we haven't done some buddy fishing in a while.
We have a bit of playing to do before then because fishing doesn't unlock till rank 12 or 14 or something like that. So we're going to have to play some missions and stuff beforehand. But luckily, especially with the three of us, most of the missions we sign up for, we can be like, do this, all right, enter, and we don't have to get a fourth or anything like that, so we could just go and do it. Unless we have, like, you know, Jeff or whoever else wants to join.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And, Jeff, we got to get together and do some online while we can. I said, because you're not working grocery anymore, so what else are you doing? Yeah. Come on, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
I didn't even think about that, but that would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot that the online was a completely separate campaign, like in Grand Theft Auto. I forgot it was like a whole different playground, basically.
We need to get a Discord sound for that Western whistle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What you mean the little good, the bad, and the ugly whistle? Do you?
Yeah. I can't whistle worth a shit, but
it doesn't matter if you can whistle because it'll be blocked out of our Discord if you do it. Nathan's done this whistle thing before.
Yeah, but it'll be on the recording for the show.
Yeah, you'll hear me.
What was the whistle you did? The Big Pimpin' one?
I don't remember anymore, but yeah.
Well, listeners will get to hear me blow air through my lips with a slight whistle to it. But yeah, dude. So like, I don't know. I really enjoy being a cowboy. Oh man.
I will say, after I play that game, I start talking like him for a while, you know?
Yep.
Voice slows down a little bit, and there ain't no G on the end of any of my participles.
Yeah, whoever the voice actor that plays Arthur Morgan is, like, I really like them a lot.
I will say one thing, and I've always feel bad for Dutch whenever he's... Oh my god, we're still talking about Red Dead! Dutch's voice just breaks so much, and he sounds so tired, and I'm like, I want him to get some honey tea.
Old Dutch. All right, let's pivot. Pivot! Yeah.
Do we have a new transition? Awesome.
So, we played a game that won a poll.
Yeah.
This game, was this the one that you did the most hardcore video for ever? Yeah, it was, right? Yeah.
The fucking Doom one?
The Doom
campaign.
That I even snuck on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. All right, so... It was your fault. Half your fault. No, we went over this earlier. Red shirts. Boo, red shirts.
Yep.
All right, the thing is, we got to put 6 games there, and that was only one of the 2 I selected, so you had a lot of options. Dane was the one that narrowed down those options.
Well, I was flying high off the Duke campaign, and I'm like, this will be funny. I'll get them bastards. Then Dalton messaged me like, hey, you wanted to be on the Noah's Ark thing, right? No.
Oh no, you weren't getting out.
Supposed to be for you.
You weren't getting.
Yeah, you weren't getting out that easy.
Yeah, no, you weren't getting away that easy, sir.
Pull out our lassos and put you on this train track, baby.
Reminds me of that freaking Tumblr post. How to dodge NBA draft? I don't want to play.
Oh man, so the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit, gentlemen. This one actually does have one.
Yes, this is one of the more notable unlicensed games of all time. Wisdom Tree was an interesting company.
Super Noah's Ark 3D is a Christian video game. That's a first for the show. Developed by Wisdom Tree for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and was ported a year later to MS-DOS and re-released in 2015 on Steam, which is how I played it, for Microsoft Windows, Mac OS X, and Linux. The game was an officially licensed id Software Wolfenstein 3D engine title, but was not licensed by Nintendo. So it was sold in Christian bookstores instead of video game retailers. Here's the part that I want to read, though. That's not normally something I would read. But the game that would eventually become Super Noah's Ark 3D was originally conceived as a licensed game based on the film Hellraiser.
Wow, that's
something.
A movie that Wisdom Tree founder Dan Lawton was a great fan of. Oh, Dane, if you know anything about this, go ahead and jump in.
I know that they paid like $50,000 for the license, and I think it was originally supposed to be releasing on NES.
Wow.
You would be.
And then Doom came out.
You would be correct.
And they're like, that their Hell game looks better. And maybe it's not on brand for a Christian company to do.
Pivot.
Wait, so Wisdom Tree were the ones that pulled out, not the people that were looking at their game?
Yeah. So they decided to just let the license expire. And they didn't fall one of the few instances where the sunk cost fallacy was not adhered to, and they just let the license drop and ported it to Super
amazing,
Nintendo
actually.
instead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. So they canceled this game because they noticed that Doom was really blowing people away technologically. And then they licensed the previous id Tech engine instead of the Doom engine to make this.
They already had the license for the previous. So they already had the Wolfenstein engine. And then id came out with Doom.
Yeah, so it says, the games they got the rights to Hellraiser $50,000 along with a license to use the Wolfenstein 3D game engine from id Software, believing that the fast, violent action of Wolfenstein would be a good match of the mood for the film.
Which it wouldn't if you're familiar with Hellraiser at all.
Yeah, no,
it's a very deliberate
you need like a Resident
movie.
Evil, like an old school Resident Evil style game for Hellraiser, like brooding, dark. Like,
yeah, you would want Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem if you wanted anything. Silent Hill, Resident Evil.
Development initially began on the Nintendo Entertainment System, with Wisdom Tree intending to ship the game on a special cartridge that came equipped with a coprocessor that could increase the system's RAM and processing speed several times over.
That's insane.
For a Hellraiser game.
That was actually really common at the end of the NES life cycle.
I know, but
Codemasters was doing
but for freaking Wisdom Tree.
Yeah, because all of Wisdom Tree's other game titles really feel cheaped out on. Like, if you've played any Wisdom Tree games, half of them are just re-sprited versions of bad games they made when they were still called Color Dreams. They just added a Bible theme to them because they figured the Christian bookstore market was easier than the
Mega
video
Jesus
market.
Man.
Okay, question. Is Wisdom Tree the same one that made, like, the NES Christian games that I own?
Which ones do you own? Because if you know Bible Adventures...
I own Bible Adventures.
They did Bible Adventures, Exodus, King of Kings, the early years.
I own Bible Adventures and Exodus, which I got from one Paul Korn.
Nice.
Yeah. Then previously they were the company Color Dreams that made... they also made Sunday Funday, because Sunday Funday is a recreation of the Color Dreams game. I can't remember, but it's the other game that's about...
They made Sunday Funday for NES in 1995. After releasing Supernova's R3D in 1994 for the Super Nintendo. Now, here's the thing. They have two games on this list that I really want to try. 1993's Bible Buffet
That's such a great
for the
title.
NES. And the developer, Sunday Software, and the publisher, Wisdom Tree, the 2007 cult classic, I assume, Jesus in Space.
That sounds made up. I cannot believe that is true.
Jesus Christ versus the Martians.
Okay, you can tell me that that's real, but I also one time saw a really convincing Wikipedia edit that told me that Scott Steiner bought the entire Shoney's brand.
No, he just owned one Shoney's, right?
He did. They went to his Wikipedia page and edited links to the actual owners of Shoney's so that the sites looked like they'd be about Scott Steiner if you didn't look closely enough. It was a really good edit. I didn't revert it because I was like, they got me. I respect this. I want someone else to fall for this. This is a good
In 1996 for the Game Boy, they did a game called NIV Bible in the 20 Lost Levels of Joshua.
That is incredible. Okay, I'd never heard of them doing Game Boy stuff. The only things I knew were the NES and Super Nintendo one.
Exodus came out for the NES, Game Boy, Genesis, and the MS-DOS.
The MS-DOS.
The MS-DOS,
yeah.
The WCW.
I mean, grammatically, that does... The MS-DOS makes sense grammatically, though, because it would be the Microsoft Disk Operating System. That's actually sensible.
Okay.
Unlike the WCW, which would mean the World Championship Wrestling, which is silly.
Fucking Mongo. The WCW.
Mongo, I mean, I can't hold anything against
No,
Mongo.
we love Mongo.
Mongo was
We love
Mongo
Mongo around here. But yeah, dude, they all of their games, dude. Okay, so Nate, you said you have Bible Adventures and Exodus.
Yeah.
Then you only need King of Kings, the early years, Joshua and the Battle of Jericho, Spiritual Warfare.
Oh, I forgot that one. I did know that one.
Bible Buffet and Sunday Funday. But like, I can't imagine these games being expensive, but you never know. Watch Bible Buffet be like $500.
I think some of those actually are kind of pricey. Like, to be perfectly honest.
The thing is because they were unlicensed games, they weren't published in the same quantities as a lot of licensed games. So there's probably a rarity factor to a lot of them. They weren't pumping out Bible Buffet in the same number they were pumping out Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair. But anyways, eventually the Hellraiser game concept was abandoned due to several issues. The hardware of the NES was found unsuitable because of its low color palette.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, Sunday Fun Day for the NES, loose on pricecharting.com, $189.99.
Wow. What about Bible Buffet? Now I'm curious. Wow.
Yeah, I can do this. I'm kind of pulling a Dave right now from Tadbog. Shout out Tadbog.
I really hope if we have a quiz that Nathan isn't stepping on it right now because these are really interesting.
I'm not.
Oh, I have a quiz and it's not even remotely.
Yeah. Bible Buffet, loose on pricecharting.com, $88.19.
Wow.
But because it's a buffet, you also should tip 10% or so to the person who fills your drinks but doesn't bring you food. So when you factor that in.
And you got to put a 5 in the plate they're passing around.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're tithing. That's an expensive buffet.
We got to tithe 10%.
Oh, man.
We're tithing, we're tipping.
Fun fact.
We're all a little living.
You know there's 3 tithes listed, so they got to get an extra 10% somewhere in there.
Oh, man.
But the third tie is only every...
So...
I am not familiar with that. You could probably get us some deep cut Bible knowledge because I'm not familiar with that one whatsoever.
Oh, don't get ahead of me. We got a quiz.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, again, the NES was found unsuitable because of its low color palette, and the addition of a coprocessor would have made the cartridge far too expensive for consumers.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's why when Codemasters was trying to set up their the Aladdin thing, they wanted to actually sell it as a deck enhancer so they didn't have to put the coprocessor in every cart they sold. So you would buy the Aladdin and it would enhance the NES. But I don't think it ever ended up coming out.
Yeah, I have to finish reading this. I'm sorry. The platform for Hellraiser then switched to PC, and the developers were able to make more progress on this version. However, by the time the first prototype was finished, as Dane said, Doom had been released. And Wisdom Tree felt that Hellraiser would not be able to compete. In addition, the management at Wisdom Tree decided that developing and publishing a horror-themed game would clash with their religious, family-friendly image.
Especially Hellraiser.
Yeah, that is surprisingly good decision-making from the people that brought us Bible Buffet.
I wish they would have done the Hellraiser game. Because then that list would have been Bible Buffet, Sunday Fun Day, fucking Hellraiser. Are you shitting me? That would have been fantastic.
Jesus wept and then he went to church.
And then he went to the Christian bookstore and he bought this game. And then he wept some more. Yeah, dude, that's fucking insane. They fucking let the license expire, switch it to... What? Okay, here's the thing. When they were switching over from Hellraiser, what made them go, we could put it in Noah's Ark?
So my theory is they realized that they already had the Wolfenstein engine, so they started brainstorming on how to make that non-violent. And the brilliant idea of Chex Quest had not yet been invented.
It's funny.
But I think that it didn't take them too long to think of, well, what would be a pretty large setting that we could have someone, I don't know, feed people or something. I mean, they had some pretty creative development there. They managed to turn Noah's story into or Moses' story into a side-scroller, for instance.
So here's what we're going to do. We can't do the Hellraiser game, right? So we're going to make a shooter, and you're going to play as Jesus. He's got a nail gun. You got to go in there and just take out all the Romans you can.
Damn.
Romans 16:19 says, I just shot a nail in your ass.
Oh, boy.
It's called Jesus' Revenge, coming for DOS.
It's like the Buddha 2 movie from UHF.
Dane is having serious regrets on being on this episode.
This is one you don't want your family to know. The nail gun was so pitch perfect, I couldn't handle that.
Oh.
That was a moment of genius.
No, the only one who listens to my appearances is my brother.
Oh man, make it the one from Painkiller, so they actually stick to the wall. You know what I mean? Oh yeah.
I was just assuming it was the nail gun from Quake, and you'd put 9-inch nails in it.
There you go. Oh, and every time you get hit with one, you get closer to God.
Man, it's those jokes. We're really just all over the place today. This has been a surprisingly good episode.
I really don't want to talk about this game.
That's part of why we talked about Deep Rock Galactic for 20 minutes. We were hoping you guys would jump in with questions so we could skip most of the Noah's Ark.
All right.
I can sum it up in one sentence. It's reskin Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I know we've all played it slightly differently. Like, Dane mentioned he played it on a handheld while waiting at a doctor's office. I played it on... Me and Willie probably played it similarly the most. We played it on SNES emulators on PC, and Dalton played on Steam.
I played it partly on the handheld. I started on a handheld, then switched it to the PC because I was having trouble with the retro achievements and thought it might be the handheld's fault.
I forgot you got that handheld. Shoutouts to Michael Nikolov.
Yeah, I got one too, actually.
Yep.
Shout out to him. Our birthday gifts.
Yeah, and I mentioned on the show...
No, I was just going to say that was his birthday gifts to me and you because our birthdays are relatively close. So.
Oh, yeah. Man, my birthday's not till October.
Yeah, we both had birthdays in late January. I think our birthdays were both between the last two episode recordings. So if you miss giving us a happy birthday, go ahead. But I'm pretty sure everyone in the Discord already has. So
yeah, we need to figure out Mikolov's birthday because we got to do something nice for him.
Yeah, for sure.
So Mikolov told me that you can add games to it if you have one of those USB to SD card writers. And I was like, I knew Lysandra got me the DS a long time ago. So I was looking through all my stuff, and I actually found the stuff that she gave me with the DS. And the casing had broken off of the DS writer thing, but it still worked. I had to fold the thing where the DS goes back into place because it had taken some kind of smashing damage at some point. But it completely worked. I was able to write Noah's Ark DS to it and put it in. So I think, Mikolov, if you were asking about me, I know that's part of the questions. I think we can just write the questions off. I think you asked if I was getting good, and I think that's what you were referring to. And yes, I did get good enough to figure out how to add games to the Pal Kitty. And I will be adding a lot more to it now that I'm confident with doing that, because I kind of want to see what all it can and cannot do.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so like Nathan said, me and Nate played it on emulators, or Dane played it on a handheld emulator in basically waiting room conditions, and then Dalton actually played the Steam re-release, which I am curious as to the technology on.
I have to imagine it must be nice I bet you were able to play mouse and keyboard, and I'm jealous.
Yeah, I played mouse and keyboard with the ability to strafe.
Shockingly, I will give Noah's Ark 3D for Super Nintendo some credit. It does support the Mario Paint mouse.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Neither of us would have used it because, obviously, it would have felt really weird to do that in combination with a controller compared to the WASD we're used to. But it is something you can do.
All right.
Yeah. On PC, it just felt like it ran really fast. It's one of those old running guns, though. Like, so you know me, I was holding shift to run slower.
Yep. Willie and me actually talked about that. We're like, I bet Dalton's trying to figure out how to walk the entire time.
Goddamn right I was. I was like, God, this is running. And then I would I will say this, though. There were certain rooms where there were enemies on the other side that I knew my gun wasn't going to hit them accurately. I would zigzag run because Jesus fuck is it so much faster.
Yeah. Strafe running is very, very powerful in these games.
Like, yeah, I don't know why. It's like running forward. Yeah, you're going pretty quickly. You fucking run diagonally and Usain Bolt ain't got shit on you.
That was common in a lot of first-person shooters. I remember that trick still worked as late as GoldenEye. So
yeah, man. For me, let's do first impressions. It's probably the best place to start. Hey, how about we do something different this time? Dalton, what was your first impressions of Super Noah's Ark 3D?
Oh man. Okay, so I loaded in and I'm like, I really enjoyed playing Wolfenstein and Doom and stuff when I was younger, and going back and playing Doom 2 for the show. I like those games. So I loaded into this with optimism. I was like, all right, I'm playing the Steam version. It's probably a bit better than the Super Nintendo version. Let's check it out. And I'm playing through the first levels. I was really enjoying myself until I got to the first boss. And that's where I'm going to stop my first impressions, because anything after that is like what I played of the game, which is not much longer than that. So like, I will say, I enjoyed the look of it, at least in the PC version. I don't know how rough it looked on Super Nintendo, but I did enjoy how derpy Noah looked in your little sprite face thing. I loved how derpy some of the animals looked.
Oh, there's some ridiculous sprites. Even the boss sprites.
Yes. What about you, Dane? What are your first impressions?
I'm going to give you my daughter's first impression of it. Because
Even better.
right after I loaded up, for those who don't know, I got a 6-year-old. And I'm sitting there playing this. We're waiting for an appointment to start. And she walks over. Daddy, what are you doing? I said, I'm playing a game. And she looks like, why did you kill the goat?
Oh, so even the attempt to make a non-violent game didn't actually work on the target audience.
Every time she saw me playing this game, I had to reconvince her. No, I'm just feeding them and they're getting full and going to sleep.
I was going to say that.
See the little Z's?
This is the one game you could say, I'm just putting them to sleep, honey. And like, you're telling the truth.
But she's like, I've seen your games before. I know what's really going on here.
One of those things is going to take their clothes off soon. And you're going to send me out of the room.
Did you point out that they have little ZZZs floating over their head after you get them?
Yeah, but small screen, and she just has got a new pair of glasses, so I think it was just
couldn't make it out.
hard convincing her of it.
She looked at you. She's like, Daddy, from where I'm from, that's a Z. You know what rhymes with Z? Dead. That thing is dead.
Z Dead Redemption.
Dead Redemption.
Side note, the really funny shit about this, where she watched so much Peppa Pig when she was like 2, I like to never convince her, no, we're going to the gas station. We're not buying any fucking petrol. This is America. So little
gasoline
Britishisms have snuck into her, just the way she talks. Finally starting to break her way, and then she starts watching Bluey and she's picking up Australian stuff. So, which I'm sure Adam finds hilarious.
She's going to look at you soon and be like, listen here, you cunt.
As they say on Bluey.
You know, you'd be surprised. But
I might. I haven't seen it. Parents seem to like it compared to, Caillou, so...
Oh, God.
It actually really pisses me off because it makes me feel like a shitty dad, because the dad on Bluey is, like, always willing to play along with me. And there's a reason I'm losing my hair, okay? I've aged 3 years to 1 since she was born. I love her. And Sophie, if you ever listen to this one day, I loved you dearly. But it's hard.
I'll say there was an ED
and I'm sorry
on
for what I'm going to say later.
Dane's expecting his daughter to find this when he's long gone and dead.
Oh, okay. It's like...
Yeah.
Gotta listen to his recorded messages. Oh, no. Why did you play Noah's Ark?
Oh, but wonder what this Duke Nukem thing is that Daddy was on.
Oh, no!
Yeah, that's therapy bills. But
I feel that about everyone that has a pod to father, except maybe the McElroy brothers, who seem to be raising crazy enough kids that they'll be able to handle it.
As far as my actual impression of it, I remembered very quickly why I never liked Wolfen. Just the flats, obviously corridor, everything's routing, very low variety in textures, everything's very so. Yeah, it has its charm, but Wolfenstein's still Wolfenstein, and I'm a Doom guy. And playing it alongside Iron Fury made me want to slip my wrists.
Yeah. What about you, Willie? First impressiones?
So, I didn't play Wolfenstein or Doom for the Super Nintendo yet. I'd seen some footage of them running, and I thought Doom was... It looked better than you'd expect, but not very good. I hadn't looked at any Wolfenstein footage, and I didn't realize how choppy it was going to be graphically. I didn't realize that the game was going to be getting about 7-ish frames per second in the actual mazes. That's the first thing that really stuck. I wasn't as bothered by it being super low resolution. I remember when I had to play Doom on my oldest computer, there was an option called low detail that made the blocks double width so it could run better. And I would rather use that mode than a smaller. So I get why you would go very low res. And I was okay with that. I could still make out stuff for the most part. Obviously, they looked a lot better when you got closer. And when I've kind of used that as a shortcut to, a personal heuristic. If I'm close enough to make out the features on the animal, I'm close enough that it can harm me if it's a spitting animal.
Spitting's for quarters.
So, get up here and bite, you coward. So yeah, the first thing I found really shocking was the frame rate. I was also surprised that, what else was there? Actually, the other thing that really struck out to me was Also, because I hadn't played the Super Nintendo version of Wolfenstein, I'm very used to the original MS-DOS release of Wolf 3D. I was just blown away by the fact that it had shoulder button strafing. Like, that was an incredibly good feature. I was shocked that that game had shoulder button strafing because a lot of ports of Doom hadn't figured that out. And it made it a lot easier to do the way you have to play Wolfenstein, which is to side strafe through every quarter so you don't just get blindsided by everything. And between that and the game having a functioning auto map, I was like, dang, I wish I'd had these features in Wolfenstein back in the day. So it was actually some bad and some good.
For me, I just couldn't get past the low graphic fidelity, honestly. Just like, that thing is 2 pixels that are giant, far, far away. Is that a goat? Or is that a piece of the background? Take another step forward. Okay, it's 3 pixels now. Take another step forward. Oh god, I'm getting bitten by a goat. I was like, good god, this is awful to look at. The frame rate was atrocious. The map design, I didn't get very far, so it was okay. Like, I felt like it was a dumbed down easier than Wolfenstein mapping wise. I'm sure that changed later on.
I would like to point out one thing about the mapping I did. It doesn't just straight up use Wolfenstein levels with repainted stuff. They do have their own maps. Like, you don't start off in the famous E1M1 cell where you just knifed a Nazi to death. Like, you actually have these new level designs.
Yeah, that is true. I did notice that it wasn't, because like, I've played enough Wolfenstein to realize, yeah, these aren't the original Wolfenstein stuff. I will say I did like the user interface, like the Bart had your score and your Noah looking happy when he's healthy and all that stuff that Dalton kind of posted a picture down there of. Like, I did like that kind of stuff, but god, I cannot get over the fact that this game ran like 7 frames per second, like Willie said. Like, the graphic fidelity was so wacky that like you had to get so close to be able to tell what something was. I'm sure you play it long enough, you start to realize what things are from a distance, but like, I'm spoiled. I'm not used to having to do that anymore. Like, and it took me forever to figure out like shoulder strafe stuff, because like apparently I had the R and L track mapped to the triggers instead of the bumpers, which really sucked for me when I started playing the game. So like, I was getting blindsided by animals when I'd walk through a door because the enemy placement was bullshit in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dalton sent us a screenshot of the PC version just now, and there are a whole lot of graphic improvements here. Just like, if you click on these, not only can you like see the wall textures from a good distance, they've also added like floor and ceiling textures, even if it is just the same thing repeating. That's so much more than the original Wolfenstein even had, where it only had one floor and ceiling. That was completely
and
flat.
I wish I had taken more screenshots, because I wanted to say that in the PC version, like you could see pretty far, so like I could see goats across a room and things like that. And the frame rate, I'm pretty sure this ran at 60 at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I just looked up the trailer on Steam just to see what the visual distinction is, and it looks completely like you would at least be playing a game that felt like the Wolfenstein limitations rather than the Super Nintendo limitations.
But seeing as this was the retro game poll, I wanted to play it on the Super Nintendo.
No, I totally get that.
Emulator.
I totally get that. I thought about playing on the little handheld.
I marked SNES when I put it in, and Dane campaigned for it, so I figured that I would have to suffer through classic experience.
Yeah. So, good first impressions. Like, anybody care to elaborate? I know that one of us got a lot further than the rest of us. I think Dalton tapped out first. I think I probably tapped out second. Dane probably third, and Willie did Willie shit.
Yeah, let me since I came first, as usual. I'll go ahead and just go ahead and spit it out there. I got to the first boss, that camel, right? I was playing on normal.
Mm-hmm. It's Carl the camel.
Carl the cocksucker. I went into that room. He spit at me. It went and killed me. Like, that's it. So I was like,
"Yep,
what the fuck?" So I tried it again. Same thing happened. So I moved the difficulty down to easy. Ran in there. I found a room full of health and just stood in there and lured him to the doorway. And he came in there, and on easy, he spit at me, and it hit me, took half my health down. He spit at me, and it hit me, and I'm trying to gather up HP, and he killed me quicker than I could gather health. And I was like, bro.
Did you happen to find the chain gun in the previous level that was hidden in a secret room?
No.
So you just had the basic slingshot?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think you can win that fight with the basic slingshot.
Fuck that camel.
So, okay, here's the thing. Wolfenstein boss fights are not very good, and I think that guy literally just runs using Hans Gross's logic. So it's literally just huge tank enemy that has basically a chain gun on it.
Yeah. I think he did feel a lot
So
like
he
Hans.
just moves, then he stands still and shoots at you a bunch without any warning. Moves, stands still and shoots at you a bunch without warning. All you can really do is try to stay far enough away that his attacks don't do max damage, and then run for cover and run to heal when you get low. Or low on air. The boss fights in Wolfenstein 3D are not good, and the hit scan ones, which are the majority of them, are.
And here's the thing:
worst.
I was enjoying myself up until that boss fight. Like I was like, I was running around. I found a little secret room. I thought that was cool. I was like, okay, I could see myself getting decently far in this. And then I got to that boss fight and was like, this game can suck a whole bag of dicks.
I have a lore question. How are there secret rooms in the Ark that Noah built?
I've been trying to figure the same damn thing out myself.
Noah built this Ark. How are there rooms he does not know about?
So see what had happened was, H.H. Holmes had a time machine, and he went back and was like, you know what? I bet I could kill some shit in this.
A hilarious prank on the Flood.
Also,
I was thinking, we're on lore questions.
Yeah, please.
One? Was Homeboy drunk the day they counted ostriches and goats and stuff?
that was about to be my thing. Is that like there were way more than 2 of each animal on this?
Except there was one camel. There was only one.
Yeah,
Carl.
True.
yeah, and he's a man, so there's no reproduction going on there.
Explain that.
Well, maybe there's only one unruly camel, because in the plot of this game, you only really need to feed the ones that have broken loose and become unruly. So there may be a docile female camel elsewhere in the ship. For instance, when you get to Ginny the giraffe, you may think, okay, this is the only giraffe as well. In level 6-6, there are actually 4 more giraffes.
Oh.
I think that they missed an opportunity to say that these animals have been possessed by the devil, and you have to shoot them with holy water balloons with your slingshot.
Well, I mean, if it's Yom-Kippur and it's the goat, that's legit. But as far as the 2 animals, with some of them, they were good up until the 14th, because clean animals, they took 7 pairs. Right. Unclean, they took 1 pair.
Right.
So,
which is one of my favorite questions to ask people who talk about doing things strictly by the Bible, because it's straight up in the first couple chapters of the Bible where it specifically does not say 2 of every animal. It says 2 of the unclean and a pair of the unclean and 7 pair of the clean.
But it also said the Ark was 3 levels high, and he went up 28 flights of stairs in this damn game.
That's a valid point. I didn't consider that.
So
maybe it was one of those optical illusions.
We all have some questions. We all need to go to that big museum in Kentucky.
I've been there, and it is such bullshit. Can I bitch about this for a second?
Please.
By all means.
Please.
Okay, so we went there. It was like right after my daughter was born. I think she was like 3 months old, and we got her a little stuffed animal.
Now, are you saying you went to the Ark Adventure or the Creation Museum? Because they're both by the same people in the same
area.
The
actual replica Ark thing. So,
okay, that's Ark Adventure. Okay.
So we went down there.
Or Ark Encounter?
And we're going through, and I figured out very quickly these people are young Earth creationists, which means they think the Earth is literally 6,000 years old.
Yeah, that was the motivation for both of these facilities.
Fun fact, not in the Bible.
Right.
If you actually understand just this one simple word in Hebrew, actually it's 2 words. The Earth is millions. Something happened and destroyed. The biblical account is 6,000 years ago. He started it over. The second floor, they had dinosaurs on the fucking...
Wait.
But isn't it the young Earth creationist thing is that dinosaurs didn't exist?
Yeah, didn't they say the fossils were placed there by the devil to make us believe the Earth was older than it actually is?
I had a girl in school who thought that.
They put dinosaurs. And like every time I rounded the corner, I'm like, no. And then you get to the top floor, and they've got statues of Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. They got names for everybody. Didn't name his daughter. There's so many biblical. And to make this place as impressive as possible, in the Bible it gives dimensions in cubits, which is roughly the length from your elbow.
Right.
So there's some variety in how long a cubit can be. So they went with the largest possible interpretation to make this place big enough to try and justify everything they're trying to.
Andre the Giant's
and
arm.
Pretty much, yeah.
Let's just say the
or
usual
something like that.
interpretation of a cubit I've heard is something like 2 cubits to a yard.
Yeah, it's like roughly 18 is the general. They want possible interpretation to try and.
I do have a question about the way you set this up. Does this mean that if you can identify any extant species of an animal that is not present on this arc or would not have fit, does that mean they have to admit that natural selection occurred after the flood?
Their justification is he took of each kind. So, you know how there's hundreds and hundreds of breeds of dogs. Well, Noah only had to take 2 dogs, and all the dogs.
Okay, I can get that because that's human breeding. But, I mean, if you're telling me that 2 skinks is enough to create chameleons, you're telling me that natural selection created speciation after the fact. That means it's tantamount to admitting to belief in evolution.
Well,
in order to justify young Earth creationism. It's just such a wacky set of beliefs.
They go through a lot of pains because they want it to be a full globe flood, and they want it to be young Earth. And based on biblical account, God wouldn't have had to flood the whole planet, just the area where people were, and you would have accomplished the same goal. So,
okay.
I mean, dinosaurs on that damn ark, that's still under my skin 6 years later. And we were on a church trip, and the next day, because all of the church big ark, and we had a Bible study the next night, and he's like, for the record, yes, dinosaurs were real. No, they weren't on the ark.
Yeah. I mean,
good Lord. Yeah, like why would they even think that would be a good idea? Like, even in their weird fake realm that they built their boat in. Like, oh yeah, we just have some dinosaurs in this wooden structure that's going to float in water. Surely that's not going to go bad at all when these things rampage. Surely back then they had seen Jurassic Park, right?
Could you fit 2 T-Rexes on the ark?
No, they'd have had to cut little head holes for them to stick out.
And that's not even mentioning like long necks and stuff. Like, come on.
Right? It's like, no, we need 1 brontosaurus on the front, 1 brontosaurus on the back, or else this thing's going to tip.
No, the floodwaters ain't going to be that deep. They can still breathe.
Oh, nature's snorkel. I like it.
They're going to be hungry, but they'll live.
Man, yeah, it's just... so yeah, I tapped out at the first level to the point that I have no achievements for this game. I didn't even get level 1 complete achievement. Like, I got 0 achievements for this game. And I just had to look through them. I got 0 progress in any of the achievements of this game.
Oh my goodness.
Because it only tallies it up when you actually take a
Yes,
boss
I
down?
suppose so. So, yeah, no. And I will probably never play this game again.
Yeah. So, for me, I got through that first boss. I beat Carl the Camel because I found the chain gun, which I think was required. I started playing the second level. I think I got through the first floor of the second level, however that's laid out. I already forget. And I was done at that point. I was like, you know what I can do instead of this? I can go be a cowboy. So I went and I went and became a cowboy.
I went and beat a cowboy.
I went and beat a cowboy.
Yeah. And so, like, the most I can say about this game is, like, it's not good. I don't know. I'm not going to try to defend it at all. Like, I bet I would have had a much better time playing it if I played the Steam version, for sure. I bet I would have made it a lot further. But I still don't think that even with the level design that I played in the first few levels, that the levels were designed in a very interesting or fun way. The enemy diversity was lacking, to say the least. I know there's more enemies that pop up, but only a few more. It just wasn't a draw for this game. Like, if I was a kid that had this game and literally any other Super Nintendo game, I'm most likely picking the other Super Nintendo game. Like, I don't see a game that would make me feel like I want to play Super Noah's Ark 3D.
Would you rather play Super Noah's Ark 3D or Bebe's Kids?
Bebe's Kids.
Bebe's Kids.
The only thing I know about that game is that Tadpog hated it.
Yeah, but not as much as not as much as I hate some other games.
Street Hockey 94 is the one they consider the worst game of all time. 95, sorry. Bebe's Kids, though, is one of the ones that had universal press, even when it came out as being...
But no, because I have tons of experience playing terrible NES games. I would rather play Deadly Towers than Super Noah's Ark 3D. Anyway, so I know Dane probably made it further than me, so like we've covered up to the point that I made it to. Dane, how far did you make it?
I made it past the second boss, which...
Congrats.
My boss strategy was simple. Go in with lots of ammo and just try and tank it.
Yep.
I got this little retro handheld and big man, which thankfully didn't chop a finger off, so it made it a little bit easier to get those shoulder buttons. But I wasn't good enough with strafing with those because of the small form factor. Once I made it past that second one, and just by the skin of my teeth, I did like 2 more levels on World 3 and said, you know what, I'm just going to try and see if I can handle the final boss because I knew it was a bear. So I jumped ahead and I tried that and got my shit punched in by the bear repeatedly and said, okay, well, you know what? I think I've experienced this game.
The game does have a robust password system. Not only can you skip to any level in the game, like not just level, but sub-level. So not just floor or episode 1, but you can go to any of the boss levels. That was my original plan, actually, was to play through and just do all the bosses. But the password also encodes some information about your weapons and ammo count. Like for a 6-letter password with no vowels, I was really surprised. I looked at an FAQ and I noticed my password was different. I tried their password, tried my password, and noticed mine had different weapons. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I will say the Steam version, whenever you went to go start a new game, it gave you a level select, and you could have chosen any of the levels to play.
Yeah, I feel like that's de rigueur for the Steam games. I
thought that was a nice touch. So I could have went and checked out other levels if I wanted to. I didn't want to.
Big if.
I had dead reds to redeem.
Yes, sir. So, like, I've literally said everything I want to say about this game. I'm just leaving the floor open for Willie to see if he wants to go through the rest.
Well, what I thought was really interesting was after you get through the third boss, which was... okay, well, actually, let's talk about the third boss first. The third boss is Melvin. And the third boss, unlike the first 2 bosses, is not just a hit scan one. It actually uses projectile attacks. It throws little bowling balls at you. So you have the ability to strafe and dodge and actually fight it in a more tactical way than in previous boss fights. So in a way, that's also kind of like Wolfenstein, where the first couple bosses are chain gun. A couple of them have rocket launchers too in the boss fights. Like if you remember Wolfenstein, the second boss was I don't remember what it was. Was it something like it's German for Dr. Fatface, but I forgot how it said already.
Doctor, turn off my pain inhibitors.
Oh, he turns off your pain inhibitors if you get killed by him. That's a special animation in Wolfenstein. He throws syringes at you, and if you die to that instead of PJ Blazkowicz dying, he turns into a zombie.
That's right.
But so it, kind of similar to that. I think the bowling balls that he throws are probably reskinned Dr. Fat. And then after you beat the third boss, that's when the game opens up and brings out the morality. You can actually choose whether you want to feed or like karate chop.
What?
No, I'm fucking with you. I was telling the truth about the bowling ball, but
I can't believe I bought that.
Yeah, me too. I was like, damn.
You didn't see the karate chop in the promo video cut?
Slappers only. No,
I'm sorry, it's more like backhanded petting.
Yeah. No, but I noticed that World 4 was when the level started getting much bigger, and that also, like, including bigger individual rooms, and that causes the frame rate to tank even worse. Like, I would estimate in some of the really large diagonal zigzag corridors, the frame rate drops to, like, 4 or 5, and it becomes really close to unplayable in combat. To the point where I was, like, if I saw an enemy, I would, like, throw one feed out, and then run backwards, and basically go to a door and just wait for them to go out so I wouldn't have to deal with not being able to turn as fast as I could. But I noticed the game is a little loose on aiming too, where like you could be off by like 10 degrees, still seemed to hit because it knew you couldn't turn that finally.
Yeah, it was a little forgiving on that.
More so with the standard launchers. Now, when you got the super weapons, those had a lot more problem because there are 2 special launchers, the cantaloupe launcher and the watermelon, and both of those have collision for one thing, so you can't shoot through barrels like you can with the slingshot. If you shoot a cantaloupe or if it hits like a barrel or a table or something, it just splats and you miss. And also, it's a projectile, so it goes slower through the air. And the launchers in this game zigzag really quickly. So a lot of times, you'll miss about half of them if you're keeping it safe. And the watermelon one is way slower, but it also does like a lot. Like, it only takes like 8 watermelons to bring a lot of the boss. I did think that the thing about the super launchers that was cool was you can't actually select between the slingshots. Once you have the slingshot, that's the equivalent to the chain gun, like Nathan said, the Super Launcher 3000, you cannot change back to the regular slingshot ever, and you only change to the melee one, which is called hand feeding, if you run completely out of feed. But the cantaloupes and watermelons actually have their own separate ammo pools, and you can switch between them by pressing the select button.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
So that means you had the option to actually manage your ammo once you found those weapons. And it did make the game a little bit more interesting in that way.
That's kind of cool.
Now, I do have a question. Do any of you guys think that this game was way harder than it should have been for a game that was aimed at little kids?
Yes.
It absolutely
I can
was.
confirm it was way too hard because my daughter tried to play it. She took it in her room and came back 5 minutes later and was like, Daddy, the goat keeps killing me.
Yeah, so among the reasons it's hard is, one, Dane already alluded to this, but there's not a lot of ways you can build difficulty with the pieces you're given in Wolfenstein map design. So a lot of the times, one of the biggest tricks they like to do is have a door with, a 3-way hallway that has a door as the second middle piece. And when you go through the door, there's a goat on the corner facing you, and it just immediately starts kicking you. So unless you strafe through that door the correct way and guess which way the goat's going to be placed, you're going to get hit immediately. And a lot of the times those goats have the ambush flag too, so they won't come at you if they hear you feeding things. They'll only attack on sight.
It's on sight.
Because even the Wolfenstein engine had the ability to do the ambush flags. Let's see. Another of the things I thought was really challenging about the difficulties was some of the doors were not soundproof, basically. So monsters could hear through those and begin pursuing you through the maze. And the manual gives this is the full thing it says about monsters being able to open doors. It just says, the animals on the ark are very smart, so they can open doors. That's it. No explanation for the mechanics by which a goat can open a door with a knob on it.
Also, who was locking those doors that you needed to go find keys for?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised Noah didn't really seem to know the architecture of the
architecture.
Or at least have his own damn key ring.
Right.
Yeah. I gotta drop all my keys between every level, too. Classic. But the level design gets more... there's more stupid mazes later on, which is also true of Wolfenstein 3D. If you look at, the maps in the game, the first levels make a lot of sense. Towards the last 3 episodes, they start to get more gimmicky and stuff. Another of the problems I had was because you're on a wooden ship, it's a lot harder to differentiate the textures. So Wolfenstein, as Dane alluded to, has a very limited set of textures, and a lot of the rooms feel the same. It's just like, this is that room, but blue, for instance. Well, almost everything's either wood or curtains, so it feels even more the exact same, and it's harder to determine where you've been. And there's some levels that are just dickhead levels. There's one that's just a bunch of 4x4 rooms with doors, that's just a maze of 4x4 rooms. There's 2 different mazes you can go, and one of them has a key at the end, and the other has a locked door at the end. So if you pick the wrong one, you got to go all the way back through that maze and do the other one. And of course, there's a monster at the end of every door, or behind every door. So you're going to be having to open door, feed, walk, look around, find the door, 7 frames per second. So looking around the room is not a quick ordeal. There's just a lot of places where the map design is holding the encounter design back. There are a few pretty good fights in the game. Not many. There are places where after I died and reloaded, well, not reloaded, but, respawn, because you keep your weapons on respawn. I actually had a pretty good time going back through and be like, okay, I learned, I can handle it. But there were other places where I'm like, you didn't give me enough, and you expected me to play continuously, and if I used my shots, I'm just... Because hand feeding is useless. You remember the knife in Wolfenstein was useless.
Yeah.
And all the enemies that start spawning in later levels all basically require at least 4 or 6 shots. The ostrich becomes the most common, and it takes 4 shots. And antelopes, rams, and oxen all take 8 to 10. So, and they all drop 5 when you beat them. Why are they dropping feed? Why aren't they eating it and going to sleep anyway? It's I know in Wolfenstein that represents dead soldiers dropping the bullets they didn't use, but that doesn't make sense in this context.
Yeah.
It's what was in the fur that you missed their mouth.
Of course. That's why they were so...
And now the whole game.
We've solved it. We've made it biblically accurate. It's scientifically accurate. We've reconciled all beliefs.
Hallelujah, amen.
And yeah, I don't know. There's some good levels in it. Honestly, some pretty good levels in it. There are a lot of levels that are so bad, I just set the controller down. I'll take the password. I'm going to go do... And those levels were more and more frequent in the back half of the game.
Word up, boys. I'm curious, though. What would you guys rate this?
I feel like since I played all of it, I'm going to let you guys run through it first. Because I don't want to... You guys quit, and there's a good reason you quit. I played through it, so I feel like I should give that one at the end.
Well, I guess since I quit first, I'll give my rating first.
Yeah, let's give it in quitter's order. Oh, by the way, I beat the game. Not only did I complete the game, I played too much of this game to the point where I plan to report a glitch on Retro Achievements about this game and then follow up on it to make sure that the achievements get fixed. So I'm going to be playing this game again in the future.
You earned the world's shittiest bragging rights.
I know.
Yeah, this game wasn't good enough to make me want to play past the first level.
And you played the best
and it was just the boss. This is just the boss design. Everything else was all right, but I just really hated that camel.
It seems to me inexcusable that you should be able to reach the first boss in a Wolfenstein Engine game without at least getting the machine gun equivalent weapon in normal play. That is a complete failure of level design. The question of whether you find the secrets, and the specific secrets that have feed and launcher, it makes or breaks the game. It's whether you find those secrets or not.
Yeah, and it's just, he didn't even offer me a smooth, delicious cigarette. So it was just like, you know what, man, fuck this game. So I'm going to give it a 2 because it functioned and I did have a little bit of fun with it up until I got to the first boss. So I'm going to give it a 2. 2 Noahs out of 10 don't you Noahs.
God, I hate you. Okay. So I'm looking at this game and thinking of all the fond memories that I have gained from it, all of which have been joking around with you boys on this podcast. But in all honesty, it's bad. It's very bad. Is it as bad as Blair Witch? Probably not. And I think I gave Blair Witch like a 6. No, I'm not doing that anymore. This game gets a 2 amens out of 10 hallelujahs. This game is trash. I planned on giving it a 2 before Dalton said it, so it's not even me copying him. This game is a straight up 2 out of 10.
I would have almost yelled at you if you started comparing it to your Blair Witch score, because you explicitly made one of your goals last year on the podcast to base your score on each individual game instead of trying to give a based on your old scale, which was...
No, I did that to be a jokey boy. What about you, Dane? You're the next quitter.
Oh, so as I said before, I repent for campaigning for this. It was not worth the joke, but it's a game.
It sure is a game. I can't argue at that point.
The design is poor because it is not of the proper difficulty for its target audience, which is going to be...
Can I please make a statement about difficulty too? Because it's very... I think that the option to put enemies in different quantities was there in the original Wolfenstein. I don't think every difficulty level has the same number of monsters. Or, well, I will call them monsters considering who the enemies in Wolfenstein. But in this game, I looked it up before I played it. Every difficulty has the exact same number of animals. They're all placed exactly the same. The only things the difficulty changes are how many health pickups there are and how much damage you take. So play it on easy if you're going to play it at all. There's no reason to play it on a harder difficulty level, except for inane bragging rights that you do not get by playing Super Noah's Ark 3D.
Yeah, which, for the record, I did play on because of all that shit.
Good.
But even on easy, like the difficulty level for the target audience, which is going to be young children in Christian households where they don't want to give them violent video games. It's too hard for them.
I'm going to go ahead and say the difficulty audience is too hard for people our age. I felt like I had to cheese a lot of the encounters to get through it.
Yeah, and if you're up to the difficulty level, you're not going to be playing this game. So it completely misses its mark for its target audience. It was already being outclassed by similar things when they flip-flop from Hellraiser. And yeah, we're going for the hat trick at my point. I'm giving this... out of 10 biblically inaccurate recreations of the Ark, I'm giving it 2 fucking dinosaurs.
For 2 inaccurate recreations of the Ark.
All right, Hero Willie, what do you got for us?
So, like I mentioned, there's the difference between the feed, the watermelon, and the cantaloupes, right? And for a while, I had Noah sitting there thinking about, which feed would be more pleasing to each of the animals. Because, they have different foods that they eat in their natural environment. And you might think that that is a stupid way of time, but he wanted to make sure each animal had what they liked. So what I had there was Noah counting for taste.
Yep.
Surprisingly, I was able to find the video game in this video game. It has a lot of problems with the encounter design. It isn't very good, but there were times where I was like, yeah, got him! Which is more than I expected to get out of this game. I did push my nose to the grindstone in part because I was still kind of having fun. And as bizarre as it is, I'm the only person that doesn't regret picking this game. I'm going to give it 5.5. It lands on the upper side of the spectrum.
Wow. All right.
It's bad, but all the problems it has, it inherits from being a Wolfenstein game or a SNES Wolfenstein. Like, the paint job to make it Noah's Ark didn't make it a lot worse.
Man.
I'll agree with that. It was just bad from the build.
Better.
No, I would agree they didn't make it any better, but for a game that had to be what it was because it's a very specific thing it's trying to do, it failed at a lot of it, but at least I can see a reason why it existed.
All right. So, boys, that leads me to the next question. Do we want to do our very special quiz provided by our guest host next, or save that for after the questions from the audience?
Say we do the quiz.
Well,
okay.
Well,
I'm good with this.
I was going to say, I think I'm going to have to cut out early.
Okay.
So if you're cool with it, I'll go ahead and do the quiz. We bow out before the questions start.
Okay.
Excellent.
So, unlike last time, this is not going to be a competitive one. We talked about it beforehand. I think it's for Willie Jump. So you guys get to work together to do the totally most badass verses of the Bible quiz that I've put together for. I had a big elaborate scoring thing. I'm not going to bother with it.
Okay.
You can if you want.
So basically what you get to do, I'll give you the question, try and figure out how badass this is and answer the question. And if you want, you can try and guess what book of the Bible that it came. I do have that listed down. I'll give you a hint. Everything's Old Testament.
Of course.
So, because that's where all the badass stuff happened with love and forgiveness.
It's all from Leviticus, boys. It's all from Leviticus.
No, I've got a different answer. There's going to be some Ezekiel up in.
But we'll go ahead and jump straight in.
In fact, I have a pretty good idea what the warm-up question is going to be. I have 2 guesses.
Why do I think Willie's going to be the leader on this category?
right.
So we've all been there. Been walking down the street and some asshole kids are yelling shit at you.
Yeah, okay. Good old Elijah. Yeah. I knew this one was coming.
Things like, do what did he done, did he do?
Things like, go on up, you bald head.
The exact phrase. So, when I get heckled, I might yell back, I might flip the bird. But when a group of rowdy youths yelled at the prophet Elijah, go on up, you bald head, go on up, you bald head, he went a step further and called down a curse in the name of God.
Oh, yeah.
2 bears then came out of the woods and proceeded to maul these presumably teens. It doesn't get specific. My question for you gentlemen, how many youths were mauled by these 2 bears for making fun of his lack of...
It has to be more than 2, but less than 5, right?
I think it was around...
I remember it being like 13
can do
or
some
something.
Damage,
I remember there
dude.
being a 3 in there for some reason.
It had to be enough that it was a crowd. He had to have felt threatened. It couldn't have been just barely
Okay,
out.
I'm going to go with Willie. Whatever Willie says, I'm going with.
What do you think, Dalton? I have it at around 12. I don't know
For some reason, my brain is wanting to put a 3 in there. Like, it was like either 13 or 30.
13?
Like, for some reason, I remember it being like a massive group of kids, and these bears just like slaughtered them all.
So where are we landing?
You want to move it up to like 15?
23.
We
23.
We could shoot for the middle. Yeah, there you go. The number 23, Jim Carrey. Tie it back to the last
All right,
episode.
I'm starting to think it's actually 14, but we'll go with 23 as our answer.
23 final answer. The actual number mauled by the bears. The ultimate answer, one would say, 42.
Ow.
Wow.
Damn, I knew it was
Did
a
y'all
big
want to
number.
try? Did y'all want to try and guess the book? Your call.
Oh, we can go for it, but I don't really know
David.
the old as well.
There's not a book of David, but nice try.
Leviticus.
Well, I don't
Enoch.
think it's a Pentateuch book. I want to say it's a little... Enoch is, I think, an Apocrypha.
I don't know. I'm bad at this. I don't have a guess.
I'm going to just say Ezekiel for everything.
2 Kings, fun fact.
Jehovah.
Witness.
Witness me!
Next up. Here we go. So, in the event that bad things happen, you have to have laws to address the situation. And today we're going to talk about a man's law right here. Quote, if 2 men are fighting and the wife of one comes to rescue her husband from his assailant, and she reaches out and seizes him by his private parts, you shall cut off blank. Show her no. My question for you, how many appendages are cut off a woman for crushing junk? according to Old Testament.
Please tell me it's not more than one.
Wouldn't you?
I don't know. I think it might be something like a hand.
I feel like, yeah, you're cutting off at least a hand.
All right, I'll go with a hand and a foot.
Hand and a foot? Final answer?
Yeah.
That's
Maybe,
yeah.
Man, I want to say both hands, but...
Wait, hold on, Dalton. Both hands? Okay. I mean, the answer's still 2. He has
so let's go with 2. Let's go with 2.
Now, keep in mind, this was a time in human history where apparently nut crushing was such a big deal, they had to make laws about it.
Right.
I wish I were laws for that when I was in high school. But anyway.
Yeah, right.
So, say hand and a foot?
Yeah, just 2 in general.
Well, we said 2, yeah.
2. Close. Just one hand, you shall cut off her hand, show no pity. And this is also in context. Earlier, just 2 chapters before, no one who has been emasculated by crushing or cutting may enter the assembly of the Lord. So they did take nut crushing very, very serious back then.
Okay.
You just get kicked in the nads, and there goes your chance in heaven. That fucking sucks.
I feel like it has to be significant damage. You can't
cool
just
religion,
be like
bro.
wiggling in pain.
Is that why they all wore cod pieces? To protect the jewels?
Cool religion, bro.
Back then, I think they wore like robes because the Levites had to gird themselves up before they could walk up the ramp to put the burnt sacrifices on so no one saw their junk. All right.
Gird up.
Biblical upskirt. Gotcha.
So now we move on from nut crushing to the Bible's original badass, Samson.
Samson. Okay.
Samsonite.
Who, by virtue of not drinking wine, not eating grapes, and not cutting his hair, had superpowers. In one instance, facing off against 3,000 Philistines, he took up the jawbone of an ass and fought. My question for you, how many Philistines did he kill with a jawbone before they finally said, you know what, I don't think we're going to win this one?
Oh, 10,000.
I thought it was 3,000.
Out of 3,000?
10,000 out of 3,000
wow.
does sound biblically accurate.
How about 2,253?
So you want to say it's more than half?
I bet he left 10. So
left 10. Okay, so you guys want to say it's most. You know what, though? I actually do kind of think that. I was going to say 300 at first, but if you guys both are leaning to over 2,000, I actually want to.
It's the power level, baby.
Let's see how many do you guys think they left.
There were 10 left. I'm going. Yeah, there's 10 left.
10 left sounds really good.
For some reason,
yeah, we like that. 2,990.
One.
So he actually wrote a poem about it. It doesn't translate, so I'm sure it rhymed in Hebrew. With an ass's jawbone, I have made asses of them. With an ass's jawbone, I have killed 1,000 men. So, killed 1 in 3. And imagine being like 720 in line, climbing over the mountain of dead comrades, thinking you're going to be the one that pulls this off.
Right?
It's like the 9th ninja that lines up single file to fight Bruce Lee. Dude, you gotta know when to cut your losses, guys.
And bringing it in for the big finish.
All right. I love a big
Shorter
finish.
quiz this time. And we're going back to junk. So,
okay.
Probably most famous king of Israel. But he wasn't the first. The original king was Saul. And before David took the throne, David wanted to marry Saul's daughter.
This is Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad, right?
Saul Benjamin. But when he asked for her hand, Saul had a very strange request that brings up a lot of questions. He demanded that for his daughter's hand in marriage, David had to bring him 100 foreskins taken from Philistine. Brings up questions. Why? Exactly. Is he making a scarf?
Maybe a lampshade a la Ed Gein.
How does this play into
we don't have squid here and we want some calamari.
Oh my god.
Is this breaking the whole don't mess with junk law earlier? And did the Philistines think this was weird when it happened? Did he just walk in and
what are you doing to my dick, bro?
Who had to count them afterwards?
It's a great Philistine accent.
My question for you.
Who had to count them?
He asked for 100. David did not bring 100. How many foreskins did David bring back?
369.
I bet he brought back. I bet he stumbled upon a battlefield with 1,000 dead guys, and just cut the dicks off of 1,000 dudes and came back.
So from the previous question,
just got 1,000 foreskins. It's like, here you go, buddy. You can make 2 lamps.
I like both of your answers. I don't have a number. I like
go with 1,000. I love it.
I don't have a funny. Yeah. Nate, I was actually inclined to agree with you because that would have been such a good callback to the previous quiz. But the 1,000 it's so poetic that I think we got to go with 1,000.
Yep.
That's Wrestling 101. Callbacks.
I mean, my guess was honestly going to be like 5, and it was going to be like a callback to the "Can you find 100 good men in this town" verse, but I think that one's later on, so I think I'm going to go with their 1,000.
All right. Saul demanded 100. David raised him 100. He brought 200 foreskins back. 200 foreskins. So, and I gotta know, I hope that whoever had to count them at least had like a special pair of tongs made or something. Because noonday sun in the Middle East, dick cheese, it probably wasn't pretty, and you didn't. So I think y'all...
Yo, we got all of them wrong.
Yeah, I didn't keep score. But you know what?
Was the score going to be based on us getting close? Because we almost got close sometimes.
The good news is you were as biblically accurate to this quiz as the game was to the Bible, and that you said things...
300 giraffes.
2,000 goats. But
1 partridge in a pear tree.
But that is the badass Bible.
All right, thanks, Dane.
I appreciate that, brother. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. If you are going to depart, don't forget to send us your MP3.
And with that...
Or WAVE or... AIFF.
Yep. With that, I bid you adieu. It's been fun, and hope you guys have fun with the rest of it. I'm sorry.
you bet.
10 race hell praise Dales, you'll be good.
I'll get to it.
Have a good night, man.
Y'all have a good
night. All right, and moving on to our mailbag from our lovely listeners, we appreciate very much. Yeah.
Can I make a request?
What's that?
Can we actually? Well, I don't know how many there actually are of these. There's just a lot of words. I have to be at work in like 4.5 hours. So
yes,
can we nitpick some of these and then save some for the next episode?
Yeah, I think we can get through a lot of these pretty fast, but I will nitpick and just mark which ones we left off. But first question is from Brian 414. Cyberpunk 2077 when with the saddest little happy eyes I've ever seen.
I almost guarantee the answer is when.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most accurate answer because I've played about 45 minutes of the game, got really bored, and uninstalled it. So, but if I was forced to play for the show, I'd play it more. But yeah, the real answer to this question is probably whenever Dalton picks it or it comes up on a poll.
I don't know. it's like I got to be in the mood to play that game. And,
it's not currently.
But it's on the list. Yeah,
but it's on the list.
It's not on the pipeline, but it's never too far from the pipeline.
It's still in the same oil well we have the pipeline attached to.
All right, next question from Fenny. I have a Steam-related question for you guys. Do you utilize the collections feature in Steam for your games? As much as I love having my lists neat and organized, I find it tedious and vastly overlapping with the genres. So, for me, I use it for one particular thing. I have one collection in it, and it's for what I call my GameBuds games, which is the list of games that I play over on the Tadpog server on GameBuds nights. So I have a list just for that, so I can easily access those whenever I'm like hosting Jackbox or Rift Tracks or something like that.
I have a bunch of collections, but I don't typically use them for the exact same reason that Finney just said, is that there's a lot of overlap, and that annoys the hell out of me. Especially when it's like... sometimes games, I don't consider them JRPGs, but they get lumped into my JRPG section and things like that because they're tagged on the store as that, and that's just some developers being shady.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I don't use automatic collections, but I have a couple of things I built myself. One is called the A1 list, so it's just stuff I wanted to put at the top of my list because it's the games I'm probably looking for. So that's going to be like the games I have like 100 hours in, or like Yakuza 0, stuff like that. I have a separate one that goes right under that for just all the Danmaku games stuff, because I like to have that separate in case I just get the itch. And I have a separate one for games we're playing for the podcast, just to make sure I have that kind of stickied if I need, to find a quick way to play.
All right. Jeff has a really great question we're saving for next week because this one is a time commitment. Yeah. Our next...
He wanted to ask us as a multi-part one too, so we might as well just do the parts.
Next question is from Kana. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus for a Valentine's Day special? Sorry, Kana, but we have 6 days till Valentine's Day and we do not have the time.
Unfortunately.
It could be a thing that happens, but it's also a game that's being highly considered in the regular rotation too. And also, guys, it just unlocked for free on Epic DLC Plus, so might as well make sure to pick that up while we're thinking about it.
All right, skipping the next one from Adam because I don't want to think that hard. The next question is also from Adam, though, which is, Who are the top 3 with the strongest punch? I know none of these characters, but have fun listening to me read anime names. Saitama, Knuckles, Luffy, Yujiro Hanma from Baki, Sakura, Gon from Hunter x Hunter, Asura, a kid's cartoon.
Some kid's cartoon he couldn't recognize.
All Might, and Deku from My Hero Academia. I think I did all those pretty well. Obviously, One Punch Man, Saitama has to be number 1. And just going by ones that I know, I'm going to put Knuckles at number 2 and All Might at number 3.
I think there's no question Saitama's number 1, just because that's literally the plot of the show, is that he can defeat anything with that is the source of his angst. But it's not really angst, it's funny angst. He's just a really bored guy. It's great. I want to put Deku at number 2, just because he's willing to break every bone in his body to hit you if he really has to. And I'm just going to put Gon if there's absolutely no logic to that one.
I'm going to go Saitama at number 1, Luffy at number 2.
He does have the stretchy punch.
And just to be different, I'm going to pick the kids' cartoon.
The one we can identify.
Yeah. All right, this next one comes in from Dalton. You can only pick 3 of these NES classics to take. We have Castlevania, Contra, Donkey Kong, Excitebike, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus. I think this one was Mega Man 2, but it was kind of covered up a little bit. Mega Man, Metroid, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Mario Duck Hunt, Mario 2, Mario 3, Legend of Zelda, or Super C. It's super easy for me. I'm taking Castlevania, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and Super C.
I'm taking Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Metroid, and Castlevania.
I'm taking Mega Man 2.
No, wait, I meant Legend of Zelda, because I know I like
that. Yeah, good call.
I like that one.
I'm doing Mega Man 2, Mario 3, and just because I liked playing as them in Smash Bros. Ice Climbers.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, I do like Mario 3 is definitely my next one off, because Mario 3 is my all-time favorite 2D Mario game.
Yeah, pinnacle of Mario.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Just way up.
This next one was a little bit harder for me. This one's from Jeff. It's a red pill, blue pill. The red pill, you get the series, I'm believing, not just individual games. You get the series of, for the red pill, Legend of Zelda, Spyro the Dragon, Super Mario, and Tomb Raider. Blue pill, you get Pokemon, Crash Bandicoot, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Street Fighter. I think I know what Dalton's going to take. I'm not sure what Willie's going to take. For me, I am going to take the blue pill, even though this is hard, because honestly, Spyro is better to me than Crash Bandicoot, but Pokemon beats Legend of Zelda for me overall. I'm sorry, but I was a Genesis kid. Sonic the Hedgehog is going to take over Super Mario, even though Mario games are 95% of the time better. And Street Fighter is just an all-time classic for me. One of the GOAT games. I can't not have that series.
I'm going red just because I think you'd be happy enough with just Zelda and Mario, and then Spyro and Tomb Raider are just spice in the dish.
Oh, man, this is actually harder for me than you would think.
Crash Bandicoot's making it hard for you, I know.
It is. That and Pokemon, because Pokemon Gold holds a near and dear spot in my heart.
Yep.
Not a big fan of Zelda games. They're all right. Spyro's fun. Mario's fun. Tomb Raider's great. Love Pokemon. Love Crash Bandicoot. Sonic's good. Street Fighter is serviceable as a fighting game. I think I'm going to go blue pill. And that's hard for me because I really love me some Tomb Raider, but...
Kind of surprised you went off.
Yeah, me too. Okay, I'm going to skip the next one from Jeff to leave us with just a couple more questions to go. Jeff, you will have 2 questions in the chamber for next episode. Our next question comes in from Kana, and you might want to look at the picture in case you're not familiar with all these weapons. What is your favorite weapon, favorite blunt medieval weapon? You have a cudgel, a spiked club, a mace, a flanged mace, a maul, a warhammer, a morning star, a quarterstaff, a flail, and I'm going to say this wrong, a bec de corbin. Probably.
I'm going to guess that means
cordon bleu to you too.
For me, I just love the morning star. Just having that big spiky ball on the end of a stick, it just seems like so violent and terrible to get hit by.
Can I give it a tie between the general mace and the general flail? Like, I love those, but those are like some of my favorite weapons to see in games. I don't even use them. I just like.
I mean, the morning star is like the combination of both.
Yeah, true. It is. It's the dead midpoint for sure.
Because we played the biblical game, I'm going with Lucifer the Morning Star himself.
Nice.
Classic.
Yeah. All right. And our last question for the week comes in from Mikolov. Barrett in a sailor suit. What are your thoughts?
So,
think I might have discussed this on the episode, but my thoughts are
I can give a reasoning for this. It's because we did a special JRPG report this week on the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth State of Play.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a screenshot that I believe he posted in the show chat, or the show question chat or whatever, of they do have Barrett in the sailor suit in Rebirth, and it looks tremendous.
Yeah, I think he posted a picture of that in this show questions chat as well, which I like it. Barrett in a sailor suit. Very cool, very fun. I'm down.
I wish the pants were a bit shorter, because that added to the camp look of the original version. But aside from that, he looks pretty damn
Barrett in a sailor suit. Pulling it off.
Yeah, rocking it.
For sure. He really is rocking that image. Although he gives me weird, like, very customized TF2 skin vibes there.
Oh yeah, Sailor Barrett's going to show up in Fortnite.
All right, and Jeff and Adam, we will get to those questions on the next episode. We will start with those on the next episode, but in interest of time, we got to get running.
Yeah, sorry, boys. It's just late and I work tomorrow. So if you would like to... I gotta scroll down. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, if you would like to please leave us a review over on iTunes and Spotify. It does help out a lot with the algorithm and all that stuff. Give us a 5-star review if you think we deserve it. If not, then give us one anyway and tell us why you don't think we do. You want to join the Discord, bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. Come join in on the nonsense. Vote on our polls and things like that. Normally I would go into more detail, but I am very, very tired. I'm sorry. bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast. You want to check out the website, which is up to date thanks to one Dane himself that was appeared on this episode. And again, Dane, thank you for joining us this week. If you'd like to donate to the show, which is rad and helps me pay bills, and I appreciate it very much, is patreon.com/the Steam Machine Podcast. Shout out to the JRPG Report, which is on the off weeks of this show. Me and Mikolov bust out the latest in the JRPG news and bring it to your ear holes. Yeah, if you like the music, nilenightmare.bandcamp.com. And again, please leave us a 5-star review. But going back to the Patreon, if you donate $10 or more each and every month, you get your name read on each and every episode. Nate's or Cogsworth, 7th of June-iper, Jeff, the original Expendable, Mr. Syllables, Old Jeffy Lube, Ariesoradam, shout out to his podcast, Revival and Extinction, Team Retrogue, go check him out over on YouTube, Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself, and Chad, the Mad Lad, no goddamn C in his last name, Shaffer. Other than that, when you donate to the Patreon, you do get extra in the beginning of each and every episode, just our little question before the show that we kind of answer and give our thoughts on. Sometimes it's longer than others. Today it was pretty decently long. Yeah, we talked about some animals. But yeah, you boys got anything you'd like to plug? Am I forgetting anything?
Think we're good, brother.
Yeah, all right, then, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in 2 weeks to talk about some Red Dead Redemption 2. Until then, everyone, take it easy.